Adventures. Now, this story involves one of the craziest ideas I've ever been a part of in a tabletop role-playing game. It involved lugging around a dead cadaver. But first, a bit of a background. See, me and my gaming group, we've never been big on established adventures and published adventures, adventure paths as they're also called. Right now we're playing in Rise of the Rune Lords, and that's where the story takes place. If you're still playing Rise of the Rune Lords, or you don't want any spoilers concerning Rise of the Rune Lords, I suggest you stop the video now and come back after you finish a part called Fort Rannick. I think that's in chapter 3, I believe, of the adventure path. So, we've never been big on adventure paths before. We played 2nd edition adventure a long time ago that a friend of ours modified for Pathfinder, the island of Castanamere, I think it's called. It's this weird island where it's a magical base basically, and all the doors are portals to a different part of the area, and all the doors are pitch black so you don't know what's beyond the door. The idea is for the players to create a map by themselves, and we actually ended up doing something like that. We really weren't that into it, sadly. So usually anybody that runs a game in our group, they create their own adventure. You know, a homebrew adventure as people called it. We never thought of it being homebrewed adventures because to us, all game masters have a story to tell and they all want to create their own stories. So to us, the idea of a homebrew adventure just sounded weird. But pre-established adventures and published adventures, you know, we knew they existed. We have seen a couple of them, specifically in the old Dragon and Dungeon magazines. Specifically Dungeon magazines, I think, is where the Game Master stuff was, including adventures. So, a friend of mine, Paladin, as you might recognize him, I've mentioned him a bunch of times. He said, I want to run something, but I don't have that much time, so I was thinking maybe buying Rise of the Rune Lords so we could play it and give that a go. And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? He does so. I already had Rise of the Rune Lords in PDF because I had gotten it. Because, you know, so many people said so great things about it, so, you know, might as well. Might review it one day. It'd be an interesting idea to review an adventure path and the whole adventure and how it goes. Sadly, no nice images like a movie or something, so I don't know how I'm gonna make that happen. Bunch of pictures, I imagine. So we started playing. My first character died because a nymph made him fall asleep, and then she coup de grace him. The damage wasn't that what killed him; it was the death save because he needed to roll a 4 to survive the sleep effect. He rolled a 2. Well, I rolled a 2. And then to make the death saving throw, I need to roll a 3. And I rolled a 2 again. I mean, if it was a thing about 2 1s in a row, it would be a more interesting story. But it was just 2 2s in a row. And that's just weird. So, I ended up making a rogue after that. I am very happy with the rogue. He's a rogue from Unchained, Pathfinder Unchained, with the scout and acrobat archetypes, and I'm trying to play him sort of like a dragoon from Final Fantasy with a spear, well, with a elven branch spear to be more precise, because you can add your dexterity to damage on that one with the Unchained, yeah, Unchained Rogue, something like that. So, skip to a couple of months ahead. We're at Fort Rannick. It's being again. Spoiler warning, it's being ransacked by ogres. We keep finding the Sihedron rune everywhere we go to, and at this point my character, every time he sees the Sihedron rune, he gets triggered. To the point that he saw a human with the Sihedron rune, and I almost killed him on sight, but his buddies, my character was able to explain to them that he was a traitor, and his buddies took care of him. So we're at Fort Rannick. We're trying to find out what we're going to do with the ogres, because the place is ransacked with ogres. We have ogres up the ass, as the game master told us. And we don't want to fight that many ogres. See, during the whole game, every time we go to an area, we try to play it very, very safe to avoid as many battles as we can. we're being extremely safe. And what we usually do is we always hug the right wall. Wherever we're going, we're always hugging the right wall. We're in a house, we're hugging the right wall. We're always coming through the right. But that one, it was different because we couldn't go through the right at the beginning because through the right was the main entryway of Fort Rannoch. So we had to take a left down to some caves. There were some chalk lizards in there. We guess if we could get the chalk lizards inside of Fort Rannoch, they might, I don't know, make a good diversion for the ogres. There was a rickety old, not old, it was a rickety house. It was new, but it was rickety anyways. And another idea we had was to blow it up with fire, so that would call the attention of the ogres. So the ogres, the idea was the ogres were gonna have shock lizards shocking them, and the one of the houses was gonna catch on fire. That was the plan. And my rogue had a wand of pyrotechnics just in case we needed to go we needed to run out of there. I was gonna use pyrotechnics and make a huge puff of smoke where the fire was. So we had a couple of plans how we were gonna do. We were gonna go to the base, go to the central general headquarters inside the base where the generals would usually be in, and then also check the cathedral area. There's like a chapel there. Yeah, the chapel. Check out the chapel. So we go in there. We get the chakra lizards. We scatter them. But as we're walking, we also find some tombs that have been upturned, and we're like, oh crud, could be an undead of some sort. Somebody, detected magic. They detected the lingering presence of necromantic magic, and we're like, we really don't want to mess around with a zombie or something. And boy, were we wrong. It wasn't a zombie. It was much worse. It was a ghost. A ghost from the previous people that were at Fort Rannoch. I forget what they're called. The black crows or something. I don't know, something like that. It's a silly name, and we're not gonna go back there anyways. So the ghost wanted to attack us. Luckily, one of the players is playing a spiritualist, I believe they're called, and he has an ability called Calm Spirits. The spiritual creature, the undead creature, has to roll a will save or be completely calmed. If it's a haunt, it turns off the haunt. If it's a ghost, the ghost goes back into whatever it is it's anchored to. So he does that, the ghost is calmed, and we're like, dodge that bullet. So let's go down to Fort Rannoch, and then we're still trying to guess what we're gonna do once we find the boss, how we're gonna fight him. He might have a bunch of ogres with him. We really don't want to mess around with so many ogres. Then I had an idea, and it's one of the craziest ideas I've ever had as a player. I look at them and I stop and they look at me and I tell them, what if we take the cadaver with us? Because they have rolled their knowledge religions and they have figured out the ghost is not anchored to the room. It's anchored to its body. And I tell them, what if we take the body with us? What if we take the cadaver with us? And we just grab it and throw it at the ogres, and maybe that will trigger the ghost, and the ghost will attack the ogres because maybe the ghost hates the ogres because probably ogres killed it or something. At that point, everybody was like, oh, "That's a really good idea. Yeah, can we do that? Can we take the body with us so we can use it as a last ditch effort weapon?" Hint, hint. It wasn't our last ditch effort weapon. It was our. It ended up becoming our main plan of attack. More on that soon. So the game master starts laughing his ass off, and he covers his face and he goes like this. Two things. One, there's nothing like that in the adventure path, so I have no idea what to do. Two, that's an amazing idea. Let's go with it. Props on the game master for actually letting us go with that crazy idea. And running with it. A lot of game masters would just shut it down. It'd be like, no, you can't take the body. If you take the body out of here, the ghost doesn't work anymore. But he was adamant and saying, you know what, that was a crazy idea. I love it. Let's run with it. Let's see where this takes us. And it took us into one of the most interesting encounters I've ever been part of. Well, not part of. One of the most interesting encounters I've ever seen. See, after that, my character used a scroll of fireball to inflame the house we wanted to inflame, the little barracks that they had over there. The chocolate lizards were doing their things. The ogres were entertained, so we snuck into the proper Fort Rannick, and we started doing the same thing. We went to the right, and I go invisible. I carry the body with. I'm lugging the body around, and the game master says, "Well, since it's a body, it's an object, and since you're handling an object, it goes invisible with you." And I'm like, "All right." So I'm carrying the body. I check around. There are ogres inside the rooms, but I'm being careful. They're not being alerted to anything. I get to the end of the hallway. I check. It's some stairs leading up. I go back. No. Well, let me be honest. I wave the players back, and I tell them, "Oh, I waved them back." And they look at me at what? And I'm like, "I wave you guys back." And they're like, "You're invisible." And well, that was like a my phase. I screwed up there, and I'm like, all right. I walk towards them and I whisper, "Let's go." There's some ladders going up. So we take the stairs. We go up. We go generally because we had one of the NPCs with us. We didn't really know Fort Rannick. We had one of the NPCs with us that worked at Fort Rannick, and we tell them where's the stairs going up, and he tells us where. And then when we go up, we ask him, "Where's the general's room?" And he says, "Over there." We checked it. We checked the general's room. And there are two ogres in there. They don't look that important. And we're like, maybe not here. Let's go to the chapel. We open up the chapel, and there's this big ogre with really fancy looking hide armor. And he's there like eating some bodies or something like that he was doing. And we notice there's the symbol of, not the Sea-Hedron room, but one of the evil gods symbol. It's on the chapel. It's not supposed to be there. So I tell them, all right, you guys wait behind the door. I'm gonna try to sneak on the ogre. I rolled well because I'm really well trained in stealth. And I walk up to the ogre, and I just slam the body on the floor. The body appears, and the spiritualist turns off calm spirits. And it's because I just imagine this big fuck off ogre just eating human bodies with a big fuck off ogre hook, and suddenly a body appears in front of him. I can only imagine how startled he was at that. But what happened then was hilarious, because the body, the ghost appears, and the game master has told us, well, the ghost has hatred for giants, and ogres are giants, so it's gonna attack the ogres first. If there's no ogres, it's gonna attack you. So he let us know that. I hide behind one of the pews of the chapel, and here it is. Here's the encounter, the weirdest encounter I've ever witnessed, but not been part of. Because the game master looks at us and he says, "I'm gonna roll initiative. Are you guys gonna chime in at any minute?" And we're like, "Nah, just let the ogre have at it at the ghost. We want to see where this goes." And he's like, "Okay." And for 30 minutes, we, 4 players, a rogue, a summoner, an occultist, a spiritualist, and a witch, we're just staring there at a ghost, have at it against an ogre. Excuse me. Sorry. Second one. It's always 2, it's never 1. So we're watching the end game. We're watching this epic fight between a ghost and an ogre, and the ogre's barely taking any damage from the ghost. However, the ghost can deal 2 negative levels, and the game master told us this guy has 11 levels in total, counting hit die. So 11 hits, not 11 hits, 6 hits, and the ogre is down for the count. However, the ogre, it can't hit the ghost because he has a magic weapon. Even though it deals half damage, it's still a crap ton of damage. And the ghost was taking a lot of damage. However, he was healing every time he would touch him for 10 hit points. It was an interesting battle, to say the least, because in real life, what you see is 5 people in a table Four of them not doing anything. We're just looking at the Game Master. Because we're not taking part of the fight. We're just looking at the Game Master, and the Game Master's rolling against himself. It's like, okay, the Ogre attacks. He hits. This much damage. Alright? The Ghost attacks. He hits. This much damage. The Ogre attacks. He misses. The Ghost attacks. Hits. This much damage. And, you know, he's doing that, and he didn't ask any of us to take care of calculations. You know, we just let the Game Master just do everything by yourself. We're just spectating right now. Because he was rolling the damage, he was rolling the attack, comparing the attack to the AC, rolling the damage, and then he was calculating everything on his notepad by hand. And we were there for like 30 to 45 minutes witnessing that. Now, maybe to you that sounds like a bore, but it was the first time that any of us players, granted my wife, you know, to know my wife is also there. My wife is still sort of a noob when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. This is basically her second full game that she's playing. So she's new at this as well. No, third game, yeah, sorry. Third game she's playing in. And me, I'm a veteran for 10 years now. And one of them is sort of a noob, but he has a lot of experience with MMORPGs, and one of them is not a noob, but he has, I think, like 3 years of experience. And the Game Master, who has one more year than me. None of us, in all those years combined, have ever seen anything like this. Watching the Game Master play against himself with an NPC against another NPC. See, I've seen things like that in other games, and it bothers me. Because you have a Game Master running a fight against another. Basically, it's a cinematic, and we're watching the cinematic. We're watching the Game Master describe how amazing his NPCs are. But this was different, because this, to us, it wasn't the Game Master using the NPC to fight itself. The NPC, Dungeon Master player character. It's when a Dungeon Master shoehorns a character that he likes into the game. But this wasn't this. This was us, the player. We had the idea, what if we take the corpse with us? What if we could use that ghost to beat the boss of the area? Because that giant ogre, that big ogre, was the boss of Fort Rannoch. We skipped all the encounters. We went up to the boss. We threw a ghost at it. And in the end, the ghost killed it with negative levels. And it was amazing. We had a blast in that session. We barely did anything. It was that session, right? Yeah, because then a couple of other things happened. But they weren't as interesting as this one, to be quite honest. No, something really interesting happened after that, but what happened after that, it wasn't that interesting. So, the ghost wins, and after that, you know, the ghost turns his sight on the other players. He notices that they're living. He's not undead, he has to kill them. So, the witch casts fireball on the body of the ghost. The body is consumed completely, and the ghost disappears because the body was his anchor. So, I'm not that versed in knowledge religion, but I think he passed on. Maybe not peacefully, but I think he passed on. Somebody correct me on that. I don't know what happens if you destroy, not help a ghost pass on, but just utterly destroy its anchor. I don't know if the ghost passes on or is stuck in limbo forever now. We don't know. Hopefully he passed on properly. But I never thought that I would tell anybody that I had fun watching a Game Master play NPC against NPC in my life. It was a really fun experience. We loved it. After that, I cut off the head of the ogre because I thought, well, maybe we could use this to scare off the other ogres. And the Game Master tells us, well, you get a +20 bonus on Intimidate against the ogres if you use that head. And we're like, really? And I'm like, okay, let me do Intimidate because I don't have Intimidate trained, but I have high Charisma. And then the Spiritualist tells us, well, I have +15 Intimidate, and I'm like, here, have the head. This is all you, dude. This is all you. +35 Intimidate. What's up, mosquito there? Alright. So, after that, we just, you know, like, let's test it out. Let me sneak again. Let's go to the other room where the other two ogres are, and the general quarters, and the quarters where the generals would meet, in the war room, basically. He goes in there, and he just shows the bodies at the ogres, and he rolls Intimidate. He rolled 20. He rolled a natural 20 on a plus 35 Intimidate check. So it was 55 Intimidate against the ogres. And we're just looking at, like, everybody just screams at the table. We start, you know, high-fiving everybody, and we just look at the Game Master to see what he's gonna do. And he's like, one of the ogres looks at you, does this, and dies. The other one screams at the top of his lungs and jumps off the window and kills himself on the fall. He actually rolled the falling damage. It's like, yeah, he's dead. After that, we went from room to room to scare off all the ogres. It was like a mini boss that we ended up having to fight anyways. But it was quickly dealt with. After that, we cleaned out the area. We started looking for... We decided... He asked us, are you going to loot anything? And we're like, honestly, we don't feel comfortable looting because, you know, Fort Rannick does belong to the Black Arrows, something like that they're called. I don't remember. They're the good guys. You know, we don't want to loot their stuff. That's not nice. We do check the captain's quarters, the commander's quarters. We find a couple of things, something that could point us in the right direction of the next place we should go to. We go to the bottom of Fort Rannick. There we find a lady. This part was also kind of interesting because I'm in the toilet. I'm sitting in the toilet. I told the guys, you know what? I'm not feeling. It's not that I was feeling sick. It's like, guys, nature's calling. I gotta go. So I go to the toilet, right? And I'm listening in on the game, and they're talking to a lady. I thought we were done with Fort Rannick, and they're talking to a lady. And I'm like, you know, I do my deed quickly, and I get out, and I get out of the toilet saying, I shoot her with my crossbow. You know, they stop me because, oh, no, dude, just chill out. Let's see what's happening. I'm like, while we were checking out, could somebody have casted invisibility on me? Because, you know, I always like to be invisible. The Game Master said, sure. And I'm like, alright, let me roll my stealth check. I rolled really high. And they're talking to the lady. I tell the Game Master I have my crossbow out. And then he tells me, roll the perception roll. I roll high. He tells me, do you notice a Cehedron rune on top of her boobie? Like a Cehedron rune tattoo, like sort of covered with her shirt, but you know, it's there. And I shoot her with my crossbow. What else am I gonna do? I had a bunch of crossbow bolts dipped with draw poison. I still have a bunch of those from some previous sessions. I shoot at her, I hit her, I dealt a bunch of sneak attack damage. She needed to roll, what was it? She needed to roll a 4 on her fortitude save to make it. So she failed on a 1, 2, or 3. So my chances were slim. She rolled a 4. And I'm like, so close for her to be completely knocked unconscious. I swear, one day I'm gonna shoot somebody with my draw poison bolt, and somebody's gonna fail, and then I'm gonna have fun coup de grace them. So I shoot her. I got the surprise round. We rolled initiative. She turned into a giant snake lady, and then we had the fight. It was sort of a difficult fight. We were scared. A bunch of people took damage. I didn't. I did my rogue specializing in dexterity, so I have high armor class. Plus, I took the rogue trick that every time I deal sneak attack, I add my sneak attack dice to my AC. Because the thing is, having, not to toot my own horn, but it's, since I've worked a lot on a lot of different Pathfinder products, and I've done so many house rules, I know a lot of the inner workings of certain classes, and I know how to make good characters. Not optimize up the wazoo, not min-max, because I like to have a little bit of everything when I make a character. You know, I like to have a bit of skills. I like to have damage as well. But you know, that rogue, it almost plays by itself, honestly. Because again, he adds his sneak attack dice to his AC as a dodge bonus. So I have a high armor class. So I'm barely getting hit. I don't think she hit me during the whole fight. I barely been hit during the whole game that I've been that rogue. However, his saves aren't that high, with the exception of his reflex save, obviously. No, but she did hit me once, and she dealt 1 point of wisdom drain, and that sucked. Because that point of wisdom drain also drained my will save, and that really, really, really sucked. I still have that fixed yet. I need to find somebody that has restoration to get that checked. We defeated her. We found some other things, some notes. After that, we did a couple of things. We haven't really played that much after that. But it was funny because the game master told us, well, Fort Rannick is a hard part of the game. You guys are probably gonna take 3 sessions doing Fort Rannick, probably having to leave once in a while to restock and stuff like that. And we defeated Fort Rannick in a single session. So that was actually one of our proudest moments in the game as a group, was defeating Fort Rannick in a single session. That was really fun. And the whole thing with the ghost was really funny. We enjoyed it a lot. That whole part with the ogre's head and the natural 20 plus 35 intimidate, the 55 intimidate check. That was hilarious. And again, kudos on the game master for actually running with the idea of the ghost. Other game masters wouldn't do that. And I don't know, man. We really enjoyed watching the game master smack himself, so to speak, with 2 NPCs. I don't think any of the players are gonna, neither me or any of the players were ever gonna have an experience as funny as that one, to be honest. It's one of those sessions that is one in a million, that all the stars align and everything happens the way the players want it to happen. Because the dice, they rolled where they rolled. Everything happened the way it was meant to happen. So, luck wasn't our favor that time enough. I think the last session we played in, at least I was rolling crap. I barely, for like 2 hours, I was not rolling over 8. And that really screwed us over in the boss fight. That boss fight, I got smacked. I got smacked for over 20 points of damage. We're fighting a giant. It sucked. We defeated him, though. We're right after that, we killed that giant. I forget that area. But it's also one of the areas that we hugged right. And we ended up in the boss room really quickly. So count your assets, guys. You never know what could come in handy. And always hug right. And if you get a chance, carry the carry the cadaver with you as well. You never know where that might lead you. Yeah, I think that's it for this story. Thanks for joining me. If you ever had or ever seen any weird, crazy ideas in any of your games, I would love to hear about it. And heck, if you really want to, if you have any stories you would like me to share online, send them to me. I would love to print them out and to read it in front of the cameras for people, and even give my 2 cents on your whole story. I'll probably make a video about it soon as an open call to anybody that has any interesting stories they would like me to share. Until next time, thanks again for joining us. Can't wait for the next session. I'm actually really enjoying that game. I'm actually enjoying the adventure path. And I think honestly it's mostly because of how the game master is running it, because even though it's an adventure path and things are written there, it also takes a good game master to make a game fun, obviously, and the players have to be willing to go with the flow and go with the adventure path for it to be fun. I'm very happy with the team, the group I have now. Until next time, guys. Until next time, guys. Remember, rule number 1, always have fun. Like what you saw today? Remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you don't, it might get pitch black, and you are likely to be eaten by a grue.